A flight that had been missing for 5 years suddenly returned. Over 100 passengers came back, seemingly unchanged, and were lucky to survive. But after investigation, it was discovered that those who had disappeared for 5 years could only survive for another 5 years. After that, they would all die. Strangely, many of them frequently experienced odd calls in their minds. Some people went insane because of these calls, while others followed them to complete certain tasks. Kayla and her brother Jack believed that these calls could be used to save others. A few days ago, Kayla received a call. In her mind appeared a man in the snow, nearly freezing to death. She had no idea what it meant. At the same time, her nephew Carl left a drawing behind and ran away from home. Jack used the content of the drawing to track down an address. To their surprise, Carl was sitting in a rundown shack. Carl explained that he had come there because he had received a call. Soon after, the nearly frozen man burst into the shack. Through conversation, they learned his name was Zach. A year ago, he had been buried in a cave during an avalanche. When he woke up, he somehow ended up there. Had he been frozen for a year and come back to life? Later, the two of them went to the cave to search for clues. At the same time, illusions appeared in their minds. On the stone wall, a painting appeared, surprisingly predicting that he and Kayla would become a couple. Kayla then brought Zach, who had no home, back to her house. Their growing closeness stirred jealousy in Kayla's ex-husband, William. He discovered that Zach had a history of drug use and went to search Kayla's home. Zach arrived and got into a fight with William. When Kayla returned home, Zach accidentally pulled the trigger and shot her. Yet Kayla told him to run immediately. Later, William took Kayla to the hospital. Not long after, Zach turned himself in, consumed by guilt. But in prison, he was treated as a test subject. The warden, knowing that Zach had revived after being trapped in the snow, wanted to study him. Soon, thanks to Kayla's defense, the court ruled that he had no intent to harm and had obtained the victim's forgiveness, so he was released. After Jack returned from the missing flight incident, it wasn't long before his wife, Lisa, became pregnant. Because Lisa had found another boyfriend during Jack's 5-year disappearance, she wasn't sure who the father of her child was, so Jack took her to the hospital for testing. Just as they were about to draw blood, Lisa suddenly received a call in her mind. She didn't understand what was happening. Jack, however, was excited. The normally ordinary Lisa could suddenly receive calls. The most reasonable explanation was that Jack's genes had been transferred to his wife, which meant the baby in her womb was his. But not long after, Lisa received another call.